best is yet to come. Welcome everybody to our live episode of Savage Cash. Here with me, your superhero of cryptocurrency, the Supoman. In today's episode, I am going to be showing you why I think that the market in the long term could actually 100x from its current position at $330 billion. We're also going to be looking at some of the very current altcoin news and cryptocurrency and blockchain news before I actually go and show you why I think that the market could potentially 100x. And one of those items we're going to be talking about is Verge and Verge's announcement today and what people are feeling about it. So if you're excited to learn about what we're going to be discussing in this episode, smash up the likes, smash up the likes, and also make sure that you subscribe to Supoman for a daily video. So, the market has just been moving sideways the last few days. It's been fluctuating. Its lowest it's gone to about 318 billion, and it's kind of not gone much beyond 335 billion. So it's just been moving relatively sideways, the occasional drop, the occasional going up, which says to me a lot of what it's been telling me all the time, which is that last week when we had a big price spike, the market has only really gone sideways since that point. The same sideways moving that it was doing before the price spike. So without that injection, really the price hasn't gone anywhere. So it hasn't really indicated the start of the bull market, really. It's just potentially still a bull trap. We still haven't got the information, really. And if the price goes up enough of Bitcoin and some of the altcoins that have been invested in at the same time, then it's very likely profits will be taken out. The value could come right down. It also could be that it stays sideways until that bull market comes along and they don't actually take their money out and they literally bought at late 6,000s and they're keeping their money in for that bull run. So really, choice is yours. I am sticking by my strategy of waiting. May burn me, may not burn me. Don't do as I do, but just be cautious of what is happening at the moment and what it signals potentially, because there's not a lot of change. If you look at it, the price has not drastically changed from one day to the next. They're staying relatively stable. So let's now move on to the altcoin news. So just before I do that, let me just make sure that I am live and that you can hear me and all that jazz. Sitting in a Hall of Fame. Ooh. Yes. So, yes, you can see me and 1K people watching. Let me just make sure you can hear me as well. Yes, you can hear me. So smash up them likes, peeps. Only 161 likes. Smash them up. So, first item on the agenda is this announcement from Verge. So, I've got to say, right, that Verge has done an absolutely stellar marketing job. I mean, it really was first class. I mean, Twitter crashed at the same time that Verge actually announced, and a load of media outlets announced this partnership that Verge has been hinting at for weeks. Everything crashed. It almost gives the impression, maybe it just happened to Twitter naturally. I can't imagine a cryptocurrency bringing down Twitter, but you never know. But the fact of the matter is that it has been announced. It was announced literally 2 hours ago, and that is that Verge has partnered up with Pornhub, or at least with I can't remember what it's called, but it's the holding company of Pornhub, and so it's not actually been confirmed yet. Which is it? Because apparently Pornhub and Verge have had some form of partnership since November, December time. So this wasn't new news for people. You know, I actually prematurely announced the partnership because I had heard, maybe crassly worded, the future has come, which is something that I announced literally about 40 minutes before the announcement was official. And people were saying, oh, it's not true, this is FUD, they've been partnered for a while. And actually, it turned out they weren't officially partnered, or at least the nature of the partnership wasn't truly finalised. But anyway, yes, so that is the announcement today. So they have obviously gone into the payment of porn and in the porn industry. And funnily enough, what happened pretty much on the lead up to the announcement was that the price dramatically fell, then it bounced, and then it fell again. Okay, so as I said here, I thought that porn was meant to make things right. But anyway, so I surveyed the masses to say, what are you thinking? Out of over 2,000 votes, 39%, so just over a third, said that they were excited by the news. 34% said disappointed, so obviously we're hoping for maybe something more professional, something more credible. They were hoping maybe for something like PayPal or Amazon or something huge partnership. So they were disappointed, maybe, in the nature of the announcement. And 27%, so just under a third, were disgusted. Okay, disgusted. And I think that's just simply the nature of the industry. It's objectifying women. It's not a good look for Verge, really. I mean, from a female standpoint, it's not a good look. Obviously, for like the hungry or thirsty males out there who like that kind of activity, they're probably loving this. But the females certainly are disgusted, and some of the people that would be disgusted on behalf of the females are also disgusted. So basically 2/3 of the audience, or just under 2/3 of the audience, are negative about the announcement. So what do you think? Let me know in the comments. What do you think? Are you disappointed by this news? Because I've got to admit, I was a bit disappointed. Okay, I was a bit disappointed. I thought it'd be something a little bit more major, but at least it's not token pay, which is what people were saying it was. Anyway, more news. So WANchain yesterday announced some plans. Okay, so firstly, they announced WANlab. Now, WANlab is intended to be a kind of blockchain accelerator and incubator that's powered by WANchain. Okay, so what it's going to do, it's going to basically do what accelerators do. It helps with resource, it helps with expertise, it helps with networking and partnering people up with others and marketing and PR. So this is WANlab. WANlab is going to be this arm of WANchain that's going to be helping these financial-based cryptocurrency and some blockchain cryptocurrencies thrive. They also announced 6 projects. So one of them is uTour, and uTour is basically about organizing tourism chain, where individuals can basically organize travel, air tickets, hotels, car rental, tourist guides, tickets, etc. Allspark, which is a knowledge sharing platform, GameBank, which is a gaming blockchain, Abacus, which is a open protocol for services that facilitate financial agreements on the blockchain, CryptoCurve, the Curve wallet. Now, I like this. This is something that I actually thought was going to be the main kind of product or project that they would be endorsing and helping, which is something definitely in the finance world. So basically, it's a wallet, basically, a gateway into cryptocurrency. And then they've got Freedium, which is dedicated to fostering financial inclusion and potential of emerging and developing countries. So a little bit like Lala World. So that is the ecosystem as it stands at the moment. This is a nice graphic that basically shows what have WANchain created so far. So exciting stuff for WANchain. And also, there is a potential rumor of WANchain being filmed by CNBC. So they're filming an interview with CNBC at the World Blockchain Forum. So again, more exposure potentially to the masses, particularly the kind of financial masses. Now, a question that I asked earlier is, guys, what do you think of Bittrex? And the reason why I asked that is because Bittrex has actually gone on and improved their interface. A lot has improved with it. They've changed the logo. They have changed the interface. It looks a lot cleaner. It looks a lot more modern. I hated the interface before. And to be frank, I logged on to Bittrex earlier and realized that this is the first time in 2018 that I have actually logged on to Bittrex. Now, Bittrex was like the exchange once upon a time. This was the one. Poloniex had a few cryptocurrencies that you could buy, but not a big selection. But Bittrex had the largest selection. However, as cryptocurrency evolved, more coins, new coins, exciting projects came out, Bittrex failed to list some of these really hot projects. I mean, if you go onto Bittrex and have a look and see, all of the various cryptocurrencies that they allow you to trade, they are old. Oh, looks like I may have crashed Bittrex. They are old. Okay, we are looking at some that have been listed back in 2014 that no one could give us stuff about. Like Symbian something or other networks or something. So let's just go date added and have a look at some of these. Like, what the hell is electronic Gaiden or Gildan or Aurora Coin or Peseta Coin or Solar Coin or Ruby Coin. None of us have even heard of these crappy coins. You know, I mean, there's just no place for some of these. They are archaic. No one gives a stuff about them. And, you know, looking at stuff like Ethos, Wanchain, Substratum, Zilliqa, you know, some of the really new exciting ones, and even the newer ones to that, have not come close to being listed on Bittrex. So I actually said earlier, I said Bittrex interface looking much better, but you need to get with the times. It's not May 2017 anymore. Delist the coins no one gives a toss about. Start adding some of the exciting coins, some of the top 100 coins like Ethos and Wanchain, or else you will get kind of definitively gobbled up by Binance and KuCoin, who seem to understand the demand. They seem to list the new and exciting coins. They seem to be the first ones to do it. And Bittrex has just fallen behind the times. And I think one of the reasons why is because Bittrex has always been a cryptocurrency about, you know, their pockets. You know, you had to pay an extraordinary amount of money to get listed on Bittrex. And, you know, and it's not about what do the people want. It's more who can afford to pay Bittrex to be listed. So I put this post on earlier saying, guys, what cryptocurrencies do you think that Bittrex should be adding? So there's quite a few. There's ArcBlock, good one. QuantStamp, good one. Credits Fusion, ClearPoll, Credits, some minor ones. But the fact of the matter is there is obviously an appetite for these exchanges to start being representative of the people. Kind of a lot in the way in like how Binance is. Binance is struggling to load up at the moment, and I'm currently on the Verge page, so I'm having a look and seeing how the Verge price action is going, and it's just failing to load up. But you can see that that it's trying to replicate a little bit more in the way in how KuCoin and Binance kind of showcase it. But what I have noticed is that when you go onto a particular page, let's just go to Monacoin as an example. When you go to a particular page, you don't see what the price is in fiat. You only see the Satoshis. You know, and I think that is something that they should definitely add, as well as new coins. But I think that Binance and Poloniex, not Binance, Bittrex and Poloniex are kind of struggling with the battle for supremacy for exchanges, particularly as decentralized exchanges appear to be getting more and more popular. You know, they want to make sure that they are not out of the market for centralized exchanges. So it'd be interesting to see what Bittrex does about the feedback that's given. But I doubt they're going to do anything, because I think Bittrex just does what Bittrex wants to do. And that's just the way it is. Right, now, let's talk about what's happening in the wider world. So, some creative uses of blockchain. So, the city of Austin, Texas is using blockchain to help homeless people. So what they're essentially trying to do is give homeless people an ID, or a kind of place on the blockchain where they can store ID, so that if they lose it, where people who are homeless, they do kind of misplace or lose their ID, this is basically giving them a chance to put their ID on the blockchain so that they can access government services. Awesome! This is what I like to see, creative uses of blockchain, how this can be applied in real life. Like I said, the blockchain is where we are seeing the value. Another one, the United Nations World Food Programme building blocks for Syrian refugees. So this is an Ethereum blockchain-based project to help refugees with food, essentially. Cash for food aid. So, you know, again, more creative, how we can help the world, the wider world, using blockchain. So it's not just simply a case of payment systems and banking. It's also how do you help people in the wider world as well, people in need. So great stuff. Now, MasterCard are going to be using blockchain for identity protection. So again, there is some adoption from the banking world as well. So this is just showing the tide turning. This is showing the shift in mentality where people were like that anti-blockchain, anti-cryptocurrency, now all of a sudden using blockchain and the technology that is being provided by cryptocurrency. So really, really good and promising stuff. the EU are looking to basically compete with Silicon Valley by helping fund blockchain projects. So I told you the other day, over 300 million euros being invested into blockchain projects in the EU. So they are looking to become a technological hub that rivals Silicon Valley. So you can see the EU are now using blockchain as a competitive tool against America, and where the technology and innovation has come from traditionally, EU are looking to set up a hub using blockchain, which is undoubtedly the technological improvement of our time. Furthermore, Barclays considering to launch its own cryptocurrency exchange. Now, if this is not banking taking on cryptocurrency and acknowledging that cryptocurrency has value to its customers, I don't know what is. This is brilliant. Barclays, massive bank, are considering the possibility of launching their own trading platform. Now, I don't think this is going to be necessarily giving them as much freedom as current exchanges do, but it's good to see the adoption. That's what I'm really liking. Okay, and in addition, there is a people are looking as to how we can make cryptocurrency spendable much easier than ever. I think that what is going to evolve cryptocurrency and help cryptocurrency thrive, help more people come, mass adoption, is being able to use and spend cryptocurrency as easy as making toast, which I can just about do. So what they're looking to do is use the Lightning Network and NFC chips to make it very easy to pay for stuff at a point of sale. Okay, so obviously making Bitcoin transact a lot faster and allowing people to just have their phone on them, literally place it a little bit away from the, whatever you call it, the machine, and then it will make the payment go through. So I'm loving this. I am also liking NFC technology in particular. This is something that VeChain uses, and also something that Seal Network, and ICO I spoke about the other day, is looking to bring out. So I'm happy with the way in which NFC technology is really advancing and its usage within cryptocurrency. So I'd look to see some use cases. So let's just see what you guys are. Let's just see who's here and what you guys are saying. Make sure that you guys are interacted with. Barry is here as usual. Good to see you, Barry. Karan is here as usual. Who else is here? Who wants to say hoi? Stefan Nestle is here. Good to see you, peeps. Laser Gaming is here. It's the usual suspects. Michael Reardon is here. Smash up those likes, peeps. Let's see who else is here. Michelle is here. Good to see you guys. Really chuffed. Katie is here. Got your name right today, Katie. Even Wendy's here. Amazing. Got everybody shown up. Marvioso. Right, okay, yeah. So, now, let's go to the bit that I'm quite excited to bring you today, okay? So, I want to talk about, has the market got the potential to 100x from this point? So, if we have a look at the market currently, as I say, $330 billion. That is basically $0.33 trillion. Okay, so that is where we are at the moment. Now, let me show you something very, very interesting. Okay, so this is the NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ is basically represents like technology, biotech, and basically just the technology revolution. All right, now, as you can see, you know, there were people who were in the early adoption stage. There were people that were investing in technology companies, web-based companies, email-based companies, right at this early stage. And the big investors, institutions, big companies as well, that could actually have made a website, had an email system and all that kind of thing, they were anti this whole technological revolution, okay? So the early adopters were down here. And then it started to ramp up around about 1995. So all the early adopters were up until this point, and then the institutional investors came in around about this point, and bang! Look at what happened. And then they basically invested, loads and loads of internet companies started up, loads and loads of entrepreneurs became paper millionaires, and it was the dot-com boom, the dot-com era. And then bang! It went right down. It crashed. The bubble burst, essentially. But a bubble bursting, this is what happens when a bubble bursts. It doesn't go away forever. As you can see here, the bubble burst And now look where it is. Over double what it had gotten to. Incredible what happens over the long term. Now, where are we in this trajectory? If you were going to compare where we are, so if we have a look at the charts, probably since in the last kind of 4 or 5 years, you can see it's just been flatline for most of that time. Okay, flatline. Now, this little bump here was the size of this back at that point. Okay, but now it's rendered absolutely nothing compared to the latest spike. Now, at some point, this massive spike is going to be this, okay? A minuscule little bump on the road to mass adoption and overall cryptocurrency conversion, worldwide global cryptocurrency conversion. That is what's happening at the moment. Global cryptocurrency conversion. This represents 1% of the market. 1 measly percent. It's going to be nothing. Now, this point here, if I go back to here, is probably this, around about this point up here, before the institutional investors got in. So it went up to a certain amount, and then it dipped, and then all of a sudden, the investors came in during that dip and bought it all right back up to this point. So where we are is anywhere from here to here, okay? Very early stage, still very early adoption stage. So when you have a look at what is going on right now here, yes, you know, largely, if you bought today, even if the price goes down to where it was, late 6,000s for Bitcoin, and, you know, everything lost about, 30%, 20% of, you know, what it is now, then yes, you'd be setting yourself up for better gains in the long run. However, you know, you're not necessarily setting yourself up for the most. You're only setting yourself up for the most maximized gains if the price goes down. That is, if the price goes down, you're setting yourself up for maximized gains. But you know, you are still in a place in early adoption stage to set yourself up for absolutely astronomical gains down in the future. So, like I said, we are around about here. We are at 0.3 trillion, right? Now, we are aiming to get to a point where we hit about 3 trillion, okay? So the 3 trillion, the 10x will probably be up in this maneuver here. So this represents, I think, about 8 trillion. This is about 8 trillion, okay? So we're probably going to get just to here to 10x, okay? To 10x from where we are right now. Because we are in a technological revolution. The currency... This is a currency and technological revolution, which means it probably has greater value than even the dot-com and technological boom. Okay, so to 10x would probably take us to around about here. To 100x would probably be a little bit more than that, but you know, we haven't even matured yet. This is only kind of 18 years after the dot-com boom. And, you know, when people invest for the long run, they invest 30 years, 40 years. So although I expect for there maybe to be the volatility to go at some point, you know, for there to be a kind of bubble bursting because it just gets bought up so much, and then the technology gets adopted and then is here to stay, and over the long term is 100xer. Okay, 100xer. So a potential $30 trillion market. Potential. It could 100x this market. If you look at how the last boom has treated its investors. If you were down here, if you didn't, even if you sold up here, great. But if you were down here and invested, even just back in the mid 80s, I mean, my parents have held on to, you know, my dad anyway, he's the only surviving parent, held on to investments till this year that he's been holding since 71. Okay, so people have held on to investments shorter than my father. So if they invested mid 80s, sold up here, can you imagine how this is like Bill Gates' wealth? Maybe a little bit less, but we're talking huge amounts of wealth if you stick in for the long term. And I think this is where cryptocurrency is ultimately heading. So I would be delighted to hear what your views are. These are my views, because as far as I'm concerned, a cryptocurrency conversion is taking place right now. We are seeing it. We are seeing the big banking institutions that have been, you know, against blockchain, against cryptocurrency, now adopting it. And fast. Literally months ago, we could never have imagined this, and it's a fast, rapid adoption. So I would not be surprised at all for the cryptocurrency market to be here in about 20 years' time. and have 40, 50x'd where we are. Now, what do I think is going to happen to the cryptocurrencies? So, what I believe is going to happen is very similar to what happened in this instance right here. So, what we had at this time here during the boom, was we had every website, no matter how crummy it was, being able to get investment simply because they had a .com domain, right? They had the .com, they had a value proposition. They didn't necessarily have any website or any business yet, but they had the domain and they had the idea. They got all this investment until the bubble burst. That represents what's going to happen with cryptocurrencies. Right now, maybe not the top 100, but looking at the rest of the 1,500 other cryptocurrencies, what's going to happen over the course of time is that, loads of cryptocurrencies and ICOs are going to come out. There's going to be lots of investment from institutions, and then bang, a load of cryptocurrencies are going to be wiped out. What happened here is essentially a purging. So we had a refreshing of the technological industry. So all of the crappy .coms, all of the rubbish websites that were just ideas that weren't able to create anything substantial or sustainable died. And then the Amazons, the eBays, and, maybe I can't think of any others, but the ones that had long-lasting potential survived and have thrived. Okay, and then along the way, we picked up Facebook, we picked up Twitter, we picked up, Google. We picked them all up in this phase here from the early 2000s, and they just continue to grow. So what happens is that this is like what we've got now is we've got a few dominating. We've got Apple, we've got Tesla, we've got Google, we've got Facebook, we've got some others, that are very, that are the most valuable technology companies. We're going to have very similar in cryptocurrency. We're probably going to have Bitcoin. We'll have Ethereum or an Ethereum, somebody who's surpassed Ethereum, like EOS or Cardano. We're going to have probably around about 100 to 300 cryptocurrencies that are the main valuable ones that don't get killed off by this purge. But what we're going to see is a lot of cryptocurrencies getting killed off by this purge. So what the challenge is now for projects is for them to deliver value, for them to deliver actual value, projects that work, projects that get adoption from the mass market, and then they can survive. That is how they will survive, by being popular enough to sustain the growth and not get killed off. So that is it, peeps. It's just crashed. I hope this hasn't crashed generally. Let me just make sure. So that is it, peeps. Yes, it's still going. It's still going. Anyway, so that is what I believe is the long-term projection of the cryptocurrency market. You may not agree with it, you may disagree with it, or you may violently agree. But ultimately, whilst we don't know, we can use proof from the last technological boom. We, in cryptocurrency, replicate this, and we at the moment are down here, only 1.5%, nearly 2% adoption. We'll get that 2% probably over the course of this year up to about 3% by the end of 2018, and then it's going to continue in 2019 to about, 10 to 13%. And it's just going to continue, and over the course of years, the market is just going to go absolutely bonkers, and everything will be on a blockchain. So, there we are, peeps. Hope you enjoyed that. Now let's take some last ones. Let's take some last questions. ADA worth investing? Well, you have to look at what are going to be the valuable cryptocurrencies, what are going to outlast all others. Now, at the moment, you've got to admit that ADA or Cardano, they certainly have a project which is basically team kill Ethereum. Let's be the best blockchain there is for the best multi-layered blockchain, the best for DApps, the best for smart contracts, the best for ICOs. That is what we're going to be seeing over the course of time. Who's going to win the battle is who's going to still be around in 30 years. So I personally think ADA is worth investing in, yes. Anything others? Debitum, I think, has a good future, but again, it's about implementation. It's about how well can they grow, how well can they dominate the finance industry, the banking services, the loan services. So again, it's not up to me or a YouTuber or a market commentator to say yes, they're going to do well, because it's all about the team. Can they implement the vision? Can they be valuable? Can they be mass adopted? That is really what you've got to think about. Mass adoption. Mass adoption is the main buzzword. What will enable mass adoption? Bitcoin is likely to be the mass adopted cryptocurrency. Ethereum or an Ethereum competitor is likely to be the building cryptocurrency, the operating system, how people can build for the blockchain world and for the decentralized app world. So really, it does boil down to these two. And what we see, you know, I'm not going to be too generalistic about it, but these two cryptocurrencies represent what needs to last. The ability to pay for things globally with one currency, and this is the ability to build and create this technological world. And of course, the dApps is what is built by something like Ethereum. So these two are like these two represent the main value. Now, what we're looking for are what are the ones that they're going to drag along with it. Because there's not only one currency, is there? There's not just pounds, there's not just dollars, there's yen, there's euros, there's rupees, there's tons of different currencies. So it doesn't have to be just the one, but there are only going to be a few of each of everything. There's only going to be about 300 by the end, is what I would say. And Ethos, I think, is definitely one of the ones that are going to help the bridge. This is why I've always loved Ethos. It's the bridge from real life to cryptocurrency. That is why I am so mad bullish on it. Because they, very similar to OneChain, are creating a finance ecosystem so that people can use their cryptos to pay and get involved in cryptocurrencies without... Because I think that ultimately what's going to lead to this, just not to go on too much of a tangent, what's going to lead to this is cryptocurrencies being spendable, usable, and understood as easy as current money. Okay, just as easy as going to the shop and paying for your bread. That is how cryptocurrency is going to get mass adopted, is simplicity. And the reason why we're at 1% and in the early adoption is because we haven't reached that stage yet. Because cryptocurrency at the moment is difficult to spend. It's difficult to use as a replacement to fiat currency. If you were to get your average Joe in the street to be able to own a cryptocurrency and pay for something with it, they wouldn't have a clue. So, you know, so there is a lot of work to be done. But once that work is done, bang, there we are. There we are, Marble Archers, I would say. Well, I did just say it. Don't know why I said would say. He's harder to get than the Queen. Oh, cute, cute. Read super chats. What is happening with ye old super chats? Read my last super chat, bro. I can't see it. I can't see it. It doesn't let me go that far up, unfortunately. So anyway, so unless you can get it in very, very quickly. Ethos will bring mass adoption because it'll make it easy even for a grandma. Yes, this is why I'm getting a ton of people into Ethos, because I want, you know, for the masses to quality check it and stress test it, essentially. Being able to see if, basically being able to make sure that it is as user-friendly and as easy for people to get into cryptocurrency as I think. Because it's easy for me to say it's easy, but it doesn't necessarily mean that it's easy generally, because I'm probably a bit more advanced in my learning curve with cryptocurrency than, well, I am, than anybody who hasn't gone into it. Skype. I don't really do Skype, Typerium, sorry. I don't do sponsored reviews. Thank you, Karan, and maybe see you Thursday. Yes. Anyway, somebody said Jeff from Altcoin Buzz made a great point. Porn is one of the most visited sites on the internet. It's going to introduce a whole load of exposure to cryptocurrency. Yeah, it does. But at the same time, do you want this connotation? People to think of sex, the dark web, paying for crime. Is that what you want people to think when they're thinking of cryptocurrencies? If cryptocurrencies are going to hit the mass market, it needs to hit it for the right reasons, have the right kind of connotations and associations. And I don't necessarily think porn is, you know, something to be shouting out and be proud of. Personal opinion. Cryptocurrency, I believe we are in the late 80s, same as you. Cool. Good lad. Good lad. I agree with you. So, there we are. There we are, peeps. Hope you enjoyed that episode. Hope it's given you some help, encouragement, and inspiration. Hope it's encouraged you to take a very good look at these, because once those balls come, you know, and they take it away, you know, look at it this way, okay? So it was bobbling up. It wasn't sideways. It was kind of going up and up. Like there was a trajectory of up. But eventually, bang, it went away. It went away. And then when it came right back down, it was still nowhere near as low as this. So at the moment, you've just kind of got to appreciate that we're in the very low stages. And there will be a point where the prices will never go back to what they are right now again. And the people that, you know, come in at this point or this point are going to say, wow, I wish I got in down there. So, and if you don't buy around about now or when the price drops a little bit, if it does, then you'll be up here thinking, why didn't I get back down here? Anyway, there we are, peeps. I'm not going to make this too much longer, so I'm going to go now. But thank you for joining me today on this episode of Savage Cash. Hope you got enjoyment out of it. Hope you got inspired by it. And I'll see you next time, peeps. It is lights out, all out.